Another wonderful, bright Tuesday morning right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, and this is Dominion Sports. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi, and this wonderful morning we'll be taking a dive into the world of sport from the local front to the European scene this wonderful morning. Remember yesterday, like I said, we'll be taking a dive straight into the NNL and also the games that happened yesterday between Barao and Rangers International that ended up in victory and maximum 3 points for Barao FC. Those are the results there you have on the screen, a fantastic one. But before that, I have Samson Balogun, the man with unbiased analysis and undiluted report this wonderful morning. Samson, top of the morning to you.
Well, top of the morning to you, Toluwanimi. It's really nice to be back here to talk sports, and there's a lot to talk about this morning. Outstanding games being played, and of course a lot of trending issues on the internet as regards sporting activities all over the world. There's too many things. We have too many things to talk about today. Really? Let's just keep, keep it on the surface and eventually scratch beyond.
Amazing, amazing. All right, let's start off from the game yesterday between Barao FC and Rangers International. And for you, were you expecting victory for Barao FC? Looking at the form that Rangers International had this season and the current situation of Barao FC, were you expecting them to pick up all 3 points on their home turf at the Sani Abacha Stadium yesterday?
You see, that's I earlier spoke about the inconsistency you would find in the NPFL. For some of the teams you would consider to be the biggest teams in the NPFL, Rangers, Rivers, Shooting Stars, Yimba Football Club of Aba. These are the teams, they are the go-to teams you talk about when you talk about the NPFL. Unfortunately, sometimes when they travel, they are usually a shadow of themselves. I mean, that's not good enough. The biggest thing, I mean, you see teams like Chelsea, Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, when they travel, no matter how difficult the terrain is, especially against Mainos like this, they usually churn out results. Sometimes not consistently anyway, but back to back, sometimes you still see them showing why they are better than them in terms of finances, in terms of quality of players in the team, in fact, in terms of the coach at the dugout. So we're not seeing that here. You know, today you see a coach who's coaching a team that is at the relegation zone, and then the next day that same coach is coaching the team that is fighting to win the league title. I'm not trying to disrupt the flow of growth for coaches, but let's juxtapose what we have here against what you have in some countries across the world. I mean, we already know the top quality coaches in the EPL. I mean, in the top 16. And usually they always belong there. I mean, on rare occasions, even if they lose their jobs, they are usually going to other top teams in other leagues. Yeah, and on a few occasions, you get to see teams from the lower team, I mean, mid-table and the lower teams, getting their coaches who actually get a job with the top 5 or top 6 teams. They do not happen often. So, here, you don't even know who are the big coaches, who are the not so big and the average ones. But it's all on the flat table here. I mean, we should get the competition in the league to a certain level where we can really predict, who are the top guns, who are the biggest teams in the league. But here, even a Yimba that is expected to be the biggest team here is still struggling. I mean, till tomorrow in South Africa, for example, you have Mamelodi Sundowns, you have Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates. By their name, you know what they are capable of doing. And when you check their log, they are usually in the top 4, top 5. I mean, they rotate here and there. Who wins the league today might not be the one. Go to La Liga, you know Real Madrid and Barcelona are usually the top guns, and then sometimes intermittently you see Atletico Madrid, Atletico Bilbao, Sevilla, Villarreal. They usually come, close to them. And then if you check the German Bundesliga, you see that Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, to an extent, you see other teams coming in, but it's not like you know it's already. I mean, this season alone in the NPFL, you have had about 3 or 4 teams at the top of the log, and then they keep changing that on a weekly basis. So depending on the result of what happens, then another team goes there. We have had Abia Warriors. We have had Nasarawa United. Yes. I mean, it's been now Ikorodu City. So it's been a roller coaster kind of season And it has always been like that. You cannot really tell who are the big teams, who are the quality players. It's just there. Even if you have quality players, your level of play might not really let that player shine that people will really see. Then we are not looking at the areas of, when you go to some leagues, you realize that if, for example, a team in the lower 10 has a quality player, by the next transfer window, they are bidding to pick that player from your club. To move to the bigger ones. But unfortunately, you just see that, you said there are open trials to get players. So this is why there is no consistency. The open trials you are doing, it is still the players that were released, 22 players released by Yimba that will come for your trial.
I agree.
So they get a deal with you, and then you release them again. They go for open trial somewhere else, get a deal. So most of them don't play more than one season in the club. So there's no consistency or continuity in what we do. It is just the same thing over and over again, and we are expecting a different result. It's never going to happen.
Honestly speaking, as we're talking, we're just going to look at the goals that were scored yesterday from Barao FC. Let's talk about Rangers International for you. It's a season where we see inconsistency in the league this season. Just like you said, some teams are picking up results. This means they're not picking up the result. But for Rangers International, it's been a roller coaster for them this season, back and forth. How do they maintain momentum to be able to churn out at least in 5 games, churn out 3 wins or 2 draws? How can they keep up momentum to see if they can fight for the season?
You see, their problem is not at the Cathedral. If you check their result at the Cathedral so far this season, they have had some good, wonderful results. If only Yoli Warriors traveled there, they lost to Rangers. So they have had issues when they travel. I mean, I don't know why you will play a Barao that is in such a situation and still not get all 3 points. Even if you are not going to get all 3 points, at least you must get a result away from home. That stabilizes you on the log. Imagine you being 3rd on the log this week, and by the following week you are 7th. I mean, sometimes it is really not. It doesn't add up. But well, that's the nature of the league. Yes, people will want to time it as a high level of competition, but I don't see it that way. I think there's a defect somewhere that needs to be corrected.
All right, Samson Balogun, let's look at the log of the table quickly to see where Barao FC and Rangers International are at this point in time, and it looks like a drop point already. They are 16 with 13 points, 12 games played. They still have a game in hand. You look at Remo Stars now drop to 18, a dicey situation for them, because we're going to talk about them tomorrow. They have a game right there tomorrow. But let's look at against the Canopilas. But let's look at where Rangers International at this point in time, 7th on the log of the table, 13 games played, 19 points. Samson Balogun, just like yesterday, the table is shaping up already. For some teams, it looks like we must keep the momentum going to remain on top. But for some teams, it's not looking like how do we churn out all 3 points to stay away from relegation?
Well, it's still a little bit the time frame, the window is still open for some teams to turn things around this season, and one of those teams is Remo Stars. You see, they still have a very big window that is wide open for them to turn things around. Even Bendel Insurance too, they won their last game 3-2 against Canopilas, but would they be able to create a momentum out of that and still get more valuable results going into the new season? I think it is possible. And then you look at some of the teams that are usually not likely to be in some situations, and they are there. Remo Stars, Shooting Stars, Kwara United. Yes, we know that they have been inconsistent in the last few years, but yes, what they did last season that qualified them for the CAF Confederations Cup, I was expecting them to be able to transfer same energy to play in the league this season. But then, so far, 17 points on the log, not that consistent, but at least they are still trying to manage. They are way better than some teams that you would expect them to actually get results. Even the Yimba, they have struggled, and it's calls for restructuring in some of these teams. I mean, separation of footballing activities from the business and also from the old paparazzi. You just have to understand the fact that these are different things. When you separate them, you'll be able to focus and know exactly where the problem is coming from. But if you look at teams that are rock bottom on the log, I don't think it is over yet for them. You are talking about Barao, who just picked 3 points against Rangers. So it's the only problem I have. I think there was a time Jose Mourinho said something about relegation. He said, look, if in the first 20 games of the season you have been able to amass 30 points, then there is a very high chance that you are not going to get relegated that season. And so far, for Barao, they are on 13 points on 12 games already. Would they be able to amass 30 points? It is close, but I don't think it is that possible. And for Bendel Insurance, still on 12 points, but they do not have an outstanding game. So it's really a dicey situation. But ultimately, you would want to consider Kano Pillars. I mean, they have seen too much this season.
I agree.
Still on 6 points. 3 points deducted, they would have probably been on 9 points. But even at that,
even at 9 points,
they have been the whipping boys so far this season, and that really saddens me. Because in most leagues, at least 2 of the newly promoted teams are usually in that situation where Bendel Insurance and Kano Pillars are currently.
Even Bendel Insurance that picked up all 3 points are still 19.
They are still 19. So it's really a very dicey situation. But I do hope that some of these teams can turn things around. You see Kun Khalifat also disbanding all the coaching crew and the management, and, just because they feel like they can get better this season. But ultimately, the team that really catches my attention right now is Remo Stars. Will they be able to win their next 2 games and cement a place in the, though the lower half, but at least somewhere respectable? It is left to be seen.
All right. We'll be talking about Remo Stars definitely tomorrow because they have a game to play right there at the MK Abiola Stadium. But let's watch the highlights of the weekend right there between Eyimba and Wiki Tourist and also Ikorodu City. They called them the babies of the league. But right now, they're leading the log table in the MPFL this season. That game went down 2-1 in favor of Ikorodu City against Plateau United. And when we are back, we'll be talking about the camp of Eyimba. Stanley Guma has been suspended right there. Stay connected, don't go anywhere.
Not by geography, but by heartbeat. Make that his starting in the right back position, Abubakar Aliu. Well, of course, the man who will be calling the shot has got to be Ridwan Ayeni from Lagos, and that gets us underway here in Aba. It's Eyimba playing from right to left. It's Wiki Tourist now. Who turned defense attack? Opportunity there for Wiki Tourist. 2 to beat 1. Could this be the first goal for them? What a save! It goes in and out. What a save there! He goes all the way back to his captain, Abba Musa now to Abubakar Aliu. Goal! What a goal! Caught Calvin Ogunga off guard. He runs straight to his coach, Abdul Maikaba. And well, they've broken the heart of Eyimba fans. And the players are in very big disarray. They do not understand what must have happened there. But then, John,
even the other time of the first half, and you're wasting time. I don't think it's necessary. Good booking from Ridwan.
And of course, that signals the end of the first 45 minutes here in Aba, the Eyimba International Stadium, where the host team, the People's Elephants, are trailing Wiki Tourist of Bauchi by 1-0. Well, it does look like and that substitution will not happen as the whistle ushers us into the second 45 minutes of this game. Gustavs finds Edidion in the 18-yard box. Can he do with the ball? Back to Atule. That is around. Just going wide. Okalo Nweke. Danger there. Edidion Ezekiel in the 18-yard box. Oh, what a save there from Goswill. Holding possession. Cut in half. The Eyimba defense. Could be second goal. What a save from Calvin Ogunga. What a miss. Abubakar now to Joel Ezra. It's a 1-2. Back to Joel Ezra. And that's full time here. And that's victory for Wiki Tourist. That's the first time they're getting.
The fourth official Ayadike Uchimna from Rivers. And so we're up and running right here all away from home. And his future hanging in the balance. Arumala, brilliant work down the byline. Crossing to the 18-yard box, kept alive by Folari.
Tobara can actually testify to his physical ability.
Uguese. Gift! Well, great work by Harry Singh to win possession. And there you go, half-time from the Mobility Chancing Arena right here in Lagos. Nothing separates the two sides after 45 minutes, with tipping Novonik on the drones, beating even louder. And good luck, Uber. We'll be hoping for some good luck as he gets us on the way in this second half. Novonik there, green top with a shade of yellow. Green socks, green shorts. That's going to be a free kick. Evening. Folari going towards the far post! And Arumala is there! Again and again! How does he continue to do this? Off the half-time break. Right in course with the breakthrough. Joseph Arumala. His fourth goal in the Premier League. And yet another header.
Fantastic goal there. He could have done something better. Talking about good luck, Anuba, the big man.
Waliu now ball into the area. Arumala! Not that time. Very positive when you score first, yet, oh, that's a mix-up, and it's two! Barely seconds off the bench! Alade gets Ikurudu City to second heaven. And it's two in Lagos. It's two for Ikurudu City.
Great goal, fantastic strike. He would have done better with that ball. A selfish play from the man who scored the first goal.
Balogun on the right-hand side. Into Chelsea. Alma off the ground to parry away.
Two goals got passed through that back line already.
On Turbina this time. Oh! Stunning header from Wisdom Undone to give the Peace Boys a lifeline in Lagos. Stunning. Simply stunning.
And for the very first time, after 6 games, Michael Arteta gets to concede his first goal. Point here, or sharing a point here, and losing the opportunity of going on top of the league table.
And so, game, set, and match.
All right, there you have it. Beautiful goals. A 40-yard goal from Wiki Torres, the player, getting that one against the People's Elephant, Eyimba International. And also you saw Ikurudu City picking up all 3 points on their home turf, 2 goals to 1. Fantastic game. And we're back to discuss the situation regarding the camp of Eyimba International. As Eyimba FC have instructed Stanley Guma to step aside following a poor run of result that has left the People's Elephant sitting 11th after match day 13. Assistant coach Lawrence Ikpebu will take charge in the interim position as we speak. Samson Balogun, there's some technical words that I don't understand if the management or maybe the media outlet of some certain teams put out there. Underline word step aside. What is step aside? It's okay to say you let this man go. Then use the word step aside. I think in senior climbs, like you will say he has been sacked or off his job already. So a step aside feels like, okay, for now we're going to draw him closer to the team again if the team coach can turn a result. But then you have the Stanley Eguma is out of Eyimba International. What is next for the People's Elephant of Aba?
Unfortunately, they are not ready to move on. Because one of the things you have to consider when you need a change of management or a change of coach is completely severe ties with the former coach, and then bring in someone neutral, someone different, or maybe an assistant with a different orientation and understanding of the game to take care and take charge of the team. Unfortunately, we are now having situations where sometimes we want to commit some atrocities. We hide behind, the use of English. I mean, we just coin different phrases or clauses or words just to represent situations we really do not want to explain to people.
Agree.
Just like, you had an election in Nigeria and someone said the election was inconclusive. I mean, if you should just tell us exactly what the problem is. But unfortunately, that is where we have found ourselves. Stanley Eguma is a pro.
He's
a veteran coach who has been around for a long time, and he understands what he needs to do. Unfortunately, there are so many things involved. It could be managerial, it could be, a few misappropriation or malappropriation when the recruitment exercise was being done. Don't forget that they had to release over 20 players in the off-season. So a lot of things must have happened at the time. So it's really a sad one at this time. But why would you not, in a nutshell, just tell us exactly what the faith of the coach is? Don't put him in a limbo or a situation where we'll still have to be thinking where his future lies with the team or outside the team. So saying he has been stepped aside is an English I would love them to come out and clear and make us understand in plain terms what it means to them. But of course, it is closer, for me, it is closer to say his time at the Eyimba Football Club of Aba is up. Don't forget he took over from Coach Deji Ayeni, who was there at the point. Ayeni was also an assistant to the coach, and when they had an issue, he was made the full-time coach at the Eyimba. Yes, he was able to do well in the first half season, but the next season, not so good. They struggled, and then that was when Stanley Eguma had to come to rescue the team at the time. Even the Eguma that came to rescue them also needs someone to rescue him at this time. So it's really...
So who's rescuing who now?
It's really a very dicey situation for both of them. But I would love Eyimba Football Club of Aba to release a press statement indicating what exactly is stepped aside, what it does means. We have known about a coach has been sacked. We have had that before. A coach leaves a team by mutual consent. Sometimes a coach forces his way out of the team because he feels like he doesn't want to be a part of the situation anymore. Or maybe voluntarily resigns and says, look, well, whatever we are, if there's anything that has to be a contract and there's an amount of money I have to pay you, this is how we want to sort it out. But I am pulling out of this agreement. So these are things we are used to. But stepping a coach aside to do what exactly? To watch from the sidelines and not be a part of the technical crew. And when the assistant coach fumbles, then you bring him back. We don't know. So they should explain in plain terms to Nigerians and lovers of People's Elephant.
Right. That's a situation report coming through from the camp of the People's Elephant, Eyimba International FC. Let's move away from that. Let's talk about the NFF. I'm sure you know already that the Super Eagles of Nigeria are out of the race for the World Cup in 2026 in Mexico, in Canada, and the USA. But right about this time, NFF vows thoroughly to overhaul after Nigeria World Cup miss. The Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, has announced plans for a comprehensive review following the Super Eagles' failure to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, describing the setback as a moment of national grief. The pledge was disclosed on Monday, November 17, 2025, in a statement shared on the Federation official page on X. According to reports, Nigeria suffered a decisive defeat to DR Congo on Sunday. Our African playoff final ending hopes of returning to football biggest stage. It marks the second consecutive World Cup the Super Eagles miss, an outcome the NFF says falls far short of national expectation. In a statement, the Federation said it would embark on a rigorous, honest and strategic review process in coming days. The evaluation will scrutinize technical and administrative structural shortcomings that contributed to the failure, with reforms expected to reposition Nigeria football for sustained competitiveness. The NFF expressed regret to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the federal government and millions of Nigeria fans worldwide, acknowledging that the supporters deserve more from the national team. Rebuilding the trust, he said, is now top priority. Despite the disappointment, the Federation reaffirmed the football unifying power in Nigeria, calling a national language a source of pride and a symbol of unity. It pledged renewed transparency, accountability, and commitment as it charts a path forward. With the World Cup opportunity gone, the NFF said attention is now shifted to 2025 African Cup of Nations in Morocco, describing the tournament as the next major chance to restore confidence and revive the Super Eagles' competitive edge. And they said the Federation concluded by assuring that the setback would not be the final word on Nigerian football, promising sweeping reforms to rebuild the team, restore national pride, and reclaim Nigeria's place on the global stage. Something about you look at this word, it looks like a statement that gives hope again to Nigerian football. Something about I was speaking with David on Sport and also, Tunde Spire, and we're having some discussion. I said, this year for Nigerian football, it's been a downturn, right there. And I mentioned, I said the Super Falcons, gave it hope, and I got a backlash saying, come on, the Super Falcons have given Nigeria hope even under every administrative position. So it's not a success for one man. It's been a success for everybody that has been under an administration that the Super Falcons have done justice for. Come on, Samson, you talk about the under 20, you talk about the under 17, you talk about the Chan Eagles. Right now we have the Super Eagles, but they're here coming out to say we need to reform. You give us this chance again. We promise accountability, transparency. There's so much said in this statement. How do you say this statement? And next one is also what is next for the Super Eagles of Nigeria going into this year's AFCON?
See, you cannot really make anything good out of the current NFF without doing a complete overhaul of the system. It's not about the players anymore. Not just about the players, not just about the coaches. It's about the management. I mean, a lot really has to change. If you want to put anything in place, there is too much corruption in the system. We have had situations where the NFF has come out and they're about to come out to defend themselves as regards how much of the resources they have mismanaged lately, and it's really sad, and it's a point of concern for every Nigerian. And since the advent and the reintroduction of what we call the NSC, the Sports Commission, there's no Ministry of Sport anymore. We now have the Sports Commission. So I think it is better to put the right people in the right position, and there should be strict monitoring for every financial situation. So I mean, whatever it is, an amount of money that has been pumped into the Sports Commission to oversee the affairs of all sports-related activities should be totally monitored. We have seen situations, and it bothers me that even as much as we say we spend so much money, we don't do too much of monitoring and supervision. If you look at projects out there, some of them have become, a shadow of themselves. They have become relics of old stories. Take, for example, you go to Liberty Stadium, for example. You would not believe that used to be one of the, in fact, it's not one of the, that used to be the best stadium in Africa.
It's a federal stadium.
It's a federal stadium, and that used to be the best in Africa at one point. But unfortunately, that's what you get there. When the video came to Ibadan, you saw the situation right there, and you wonder what exactly is going on here. This is more or less like a poultry now. But then, what would you say to a government that really doesn't care? We prefer fire brigade approach, and maintenance culture is not part of what we do here. We just build and leave. I mean, how about build and maintain? These contracts can be signed by by you and the contractor that has been saddled to build and maintain. You see, we also have to stop the attitude of taking crusades, taking concerts to stadiums. And if they are ever going to be in stadiums, I mean, the main bowl should be covered, the grass should be covered. Yeah. And you just realize the fact that when they are gone, the stadium is messed up. How much was paid to how much will be used to maintain the stadium, then it's a question. So there is no way you can break even when you are not wise enough to know that this is strictly business. Unfortunately, as is the current situation, I'm not saying we cannot use pitches for other purposes. Take, for example, the Allianz Arena, the Camp Nou, the Santiago Bernabeu. They have all hosted. They have all hosted events of different magnitudes. But one thing they do is that they do not joke with the center of the pitch, which is where the action takes place. So that place is well covered and protected against anything. Other things can be done on a fire brigade approach basis. Probably seats were broken. They can easily be removed and replaced. But can you remove and replace grasses in just a matter of hours? It is not possible. So it takes time. Unfortunately, that's what we do here. We just I've seen situations. I mean, recently 200 billion I think was spent on the Kwara Township Stadium. And if you get there, you realize where's the money that was spent. You can't really say this is I mean, if you put it side by side, how much was spent and the quality you are getting, it still gives you the whole Nigeria vibe and not what you would expect in the 2025 in the era where people are really evolving. You saw what is currently happening in Barcelona. They have had to use their training facility for the last 2 years because they are upgrading the Camp Nou for a different purpose entirely. Yes, football activities, but it will also attract investors. We don't do that here, and that's quite unfortunate. And most teams that are actually using these pitches, they don't care about maintenance because they are not even making the money. But it is quite important that whatever it is you are going to sell, if you have commodities to push out to the people, what you first do is to make your commodity attractive. So make our football attractive by providing adequate facilities. Then you will see if people will invest or not.
For you now, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, we are out of the World Cup race. The focus now is being set on this year's AFCON in Morocco, and we got a report that Victor Osimhen, is still not an injury, and how fit can he be for the AFCON? And also, you look at the setup. What's it like for the Super Eagles going into this year AFCON? Can we achieve what we have not been able to achieve for a long time, lifting the trophy?
Well, I think we have what it takes, but I'm just quite skeptical about the level of inconsistency when it comes to coaching and tactical display on the field of play. You compared Nigeria against Gabon with that of the team that played against DR Congo. There's a sharp contrast in how they performed and the zeal and passion they had to be on that field. Why it drained up, we don't know. So the coach should be able to maintain a level of confidence in his players and then build a level of confidence within the team that will make them perform week in, week out, regardless of what opponent it is. We have gotten to start that stage where so many people are shifting their attention away from the World Cup. Yes, it will not be painful now. It is until the Mundial comes before you understand. Oh, let's go play AFCON. After the AFCON, what will happen?
What next?
What if you don't even win the AFCON? So what will happen is the AFCON should not be a consolation. It's a different tournament on its own which they qualified for, and let them go and represent Nigeria and see what they can actually bring out of it. And if they eventually win, yes, and if they don't, it calls for the question that we have always asked is when are we going to restructure Nigerian football scene? When are we going to restructure Nigerian sporting arena? If that is done, I think a lot of things will change. And that is also investing in grassroots development, which we have lost in a long time. So maybe if we see new set of faces, new set of people maybe things will change. We have had players that have had 90, 100 caps for the Super Eagles. They are still in the team, but what are they doing differently since they came around? Does that mean we do not have players of better quality? I mean, we have always said it, we need a playmaker, we need a dazzler. In that team, we do not have one. It's the only attacking midfielder in that team is Alex Iwobi. And that what he can do for the team is what you saw against Gabon and DR Congo. Can we have someone who can do better is a question. So let's spread our scouting net and see exactly what we can get out of it.
All right, because of our time, we need to move swiftly. Let's take stories from the world of basketball. Right there at the Nigeria Premier Basketball League, we are ready to retain our title. Rivers Hoopers captain Victor Anthony Akoko has expressed his team readiness to defend the Nigeria Premier Football Basketball League title as they approach the 2025 season. Our Final Four phase is set to take place from November 21st to the 23rd in Port Harcourt. The Hoopers, who have been dominant in the recent years, are looking to make it a historic three-peat after securing back-to-back MPBL titles in 2023 and 2024 with an unbeaten record. The team, fondly known as the Kingsmen, is now targeting a 7th title and hopes to maintain its dominance in Nigeria basketball scene. Koko and his teammates will face tough competition in the Final Four, with Lagos legends Boko City Chiefs and Nigeria Customs as vying for the crown. However, the Hoopers are focused on retaining the title they won last year, while also securing a spot in the next edition of the Basketball African League BAL. Something about it, there you have it, the Rivers Hoopers. And there was a time we were talking about basketball, and you mentioned this name, saying if there's a name that is dominant in Nigeria Basketball League, is the Rivers Hoopers, and they are already gearing up to say, we want to retain the title and also represent Nigeria on the bigger stage.
You see, I think the energy put into Rivers Hoopers, if it is done with every other basketball team in the country, I think we have a more competitive league, and we have more players that can actually don the colors of the team, and Nigeria, for example, for AfroBasket here and there. But unfortunately, we just see a few teams doing what you would expect a basketball team to do in the league, and then the league is not really encouraging, because now they play the abridged league, not the usual one you would expect. So most of the times these players are resting, and they have over-rested that when it comes to competitive games, some of them are rusty. So it's just it's a big deal, and basketball should be one of the sports we should be looking at, because if you look at the NBA and the glamour it attracts, I think we can replicate that too. We should be able to do that. But unfortunately, majority of the teams in the Nigerian Basketball League have been funded by the state government. Still, as I always say, there will be no development until we have private individuals like we are seeing in our football arena, where individuals are now investing heavily in football. So if you can have such individuals also doing basketball, take for example, people will always say, I compare with what is happening abroad. Real Madrid has a basketball team. Barcelona has a basketball team. They are female teams, and then they are doing really well. So it's about expanding your sporting scope. It's not just about football. As a player, as a player in the football business industry, one thing you have to do is start. When football is steady, you're already doing well in sport, why not expand the scope and do it like other people do it? Unfortunately, I don't think we have too many visionary leaders in the country who will think in that direction. It is only until when I think CAF was trying to say, look, if you don't have a female team, you do not qualify to play in the CAF Champions League. That's where we only, I think it was overnight, Remo Stars decided to have a female team.
And overnight for Shooting
Stars too. They also had to create a female team out of the blue, and some of them are even acquiring existing female teams. It's safe for some state-owned clubs that already had, like the Bayelsa Queens and the likes, the Bomb Angels, so who already had, female teams like that. But then, even some are even adopting some teams now. Let's adopt you, be a part of our structure. I mean, we should be able to do, even without CAF saying this is what you have to do, we should be able to bring out new initiatives, ideas that will change the football scene and sporting scene in Nigeria.
All right, quickly wrapping up the show, let's look at the CAF 3 nominees for this year's award. Let's look at that, and we have Rasheedat Ajibade making that list, but something about to go, there's a little bit of question for me. Esther Okoronkwo made a statement in the earlier hours of yesterday, stating, and she said, and I quote, Esther Nkoroko on IG after missing out on the CAF Africans Women's Player of the Year. I remain grateful for all the love and support across Africa. Our CAF decision is noted, but my focus stays on the pitch, where recognition is earned, not awarded. Award don't always reflect reality, but the pitch never lies. Honestly, based on her performance over the past year, she should be in top 3. Something Balogun, there you have it. For you, do you think Esther Nkoroko should be making the top 3 list and who's taking this award home?
I think of all the players here, I think Rasheedat Ajibade has an edge. Reason being that she won the WAFCON with the Nigerian national team, one of the biggest performers in that competition. Yeah. Well, you might want to talk about Gisle Shebak, who got a goal in the final before Nigeria finally equalized and then eventually won. She's been massive in terms of how rapidly she has grown in the football scene in the last 2 years. But you know, unfortunately, it's not about you know. It's not just about what you can do. It's about how much people see you out there. And I think, you know, Rasheedat Ajibade is more in the public scene than Shebak. So when it comes to voting pattern, I might really favor Rasheedat Ajibade. And I still feel like she's definitely going to win this.
All right. For you, Esther Nkoroko,
well, I think she deserves to be here, especially when you still have Sana Missouri in the top 3. I think she should have actually been there ahead of Missouri. But unfortunately, it is what it is. It's not an individual opinion anyway. There is a voting process for all of this, and when they vote, there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe by the next time, you know, awards, you know, we now have a new set of nominees. Maybe
if she's still informed,
she's going to get the kind of exposure she doesn't have now. So too many people don't know Esther Nkoroko until she started doing well for the Super Falcons. Let's see if after that, her club form, together with that of Nigeria, now that her name has been there and people now know who Esther Nkoroko is, maybe that will be, you know, a turning point for her next time.
All right, quickly let's look at all the CAF nominations, top 3 quickly, and let's move away from that. There you have a goalkeeper of the year, Chiamaka Nnadozie, making that list for you. Is she picking up the award, Samson?
I think so. I think she's for a record. I think this was really third time. She should be able to pick it up.
All right, and let's look at more quickly. Let's look at all the player of the year for you, Achraf Hakimi, Mohamed Salah, and Victor Osimhen as wrap up the show.
Well, in terms of trophies won, I think Achraf Hakimi ranks ahead of both players. He won the league and won some other titles in France, and most definitely won the UEFA Champions League until they lost the Club World Cup to Chelsea. For Mohamed Salah, he won the league with Liverpool. Fantastic player. He had a massive goal contribution for Liverpool. So meaning that it has to be between Achraf Hakimi and Mohamed Salah. Victor Osimhen might have to come back next time, but I still think Achraf Hakimi will nip this one ahead of Mohamed Salah.
Okay, I just want to place it. It's going to be Achraf Hakimi for me. Victor Osimhen second because he also achieved, trophies for his club last season and also goals. Also, he had goals, right there for himself last season. But come on, that is going to happen, and we're going to give you updates on that. Also, the young player of the year, Shakirat Moshood, also making that one for you. Is she going on with this award?
Interesting one for Nigeria, but I don't think she's there yet. I think what we currently see now, I think Dua Madani will name this one.
All right, that's all we can take on the show this wonderful Tuesday morning. I'm going to say a big thank you to everyone that logged in and also watched the show. But I want to urge you to please make sure you share, make sure you like, and also make sure you drop your comments right there in the comment section. That will do a great deal for us on the show. And also a big thank you to the producer, a big thank you also to the crew for making sure we stay live and also global. And also I want to say a big thank you to Samson Balogun. Your motivation yesterday, spurred me to life, and I'm grateful for that.
It's really nice to have actually helped you in one way or the other.
All right, that's all we can take. I remember Paul Abbey, I'm going to see you again on Wednesday. So make sure you stay safe, make sure you stay blessed, and make sure you keep watching at Dominion Television, because it is definitely your channel of choice.